It's finally over. 2020's gone and the Earth isn't gone with it. 2020 has been an absolute nightmare of a year, with every month having its own quirky theme, if you will. Almost all of these events none of us wish happened. Pack your bags, kids, because we're going on a trip through these 12 months we like to call 2020. 2020 hit the ground running, because a lot happened in the first month. This little virus in China started to appear. It's nothing to worry about. Trust me, guys. I used to make science segments. The US-Iran conflict started in January. I bet we all forgot about that one. We almost had World War III. And finishing January off, sadly, Kobe and his daughter Gianna passed away. February was more America being America side of horrible. There were multiple mass shootings throughout the month across the nation. The delay in the Iowa caucus causing political campaign issues. Our president got shoved into a fruit twice. These two reasons were abusing of power and obstruction of justice. Regardless if you love or hate Trump, he's definitely not made 2020 better. Those stimulus checks, though. I mean, people are getting more money from being unemployed than I am working. And then the first deaths of that virus I told you guys about happened. Still, nothing to worry about. Probably just one guy. So you guys know that virus that I was talking about in January and February? Well, it's a global pandemic now. Everything's closed. You can't do anything. The conflict in the Middle East has risen even more with bombings in Turkey. But hey, look on the bright side in March. It was my birthday. And Andrew's. In April, there was sadly even more conflict in the Middle East. Saudi Arabian coalition fighting rebels in Yemen actually declared a 2-week ceasefire to stop the spread of the coronavirus. Those guys are literally fighting a war, and they stop being around each other to stop the spread of a virus. And we can't even, wear masks. Come on, guys. Let's get our stuff. We're better than this. These countries, by the way, have been in a 5-year conflict, so it's a pretty big deal for them. North Korea's favorite dictator, Kim Jong-un, went missing for a while. In May, the little virus that could continued the spread. Kim Jong-un finally said, "I'm done playing hide and seek," and showed up. After one of the worst mass shootings recorded in its history, Canada banned the manufacturing, buying, and selling of over 1,500 different types of assault rifles. If only it was that easy in the US. The tragedy involving George Floyd happened in late May. This is soon to cause major conflict and riots throughout the nation, but we'll see that next month. June is when you-know-what hits the you-know-fan. The protests picked up a lot of traction in these first few days of the month. Protests were being held nationwide as well as riots. If you want to hear more about this massive event and impact in history, check out CBN reporters Flannel Boy Matt Messina and myself. We've both made segments on this topic. Oh yeah, also a massive locust swarm destroyed India's crop and suburban areas. Is it just me, or is everything happening this month like a biblical thing? We'll find out as more events unfold. July followed the same trend of nationwide protest, and sadly, shootings spiked as well. Most of these were due to protests and riots getting out of hand. Gun violence spiked in Chicago with over 63 people getting hurt in a single weekend. Sad to see that these types of problems or issues our nation faces every day. A lot of companies and organizations removed offensive and racial terms in order to appeal to movements going on right now. President Trump denounced cancel culture, but look at the T page. That's cancel culture in action. I mean, seriously, they couldn't even respect someone's opinion on there. In early August, an explosion in Beirut, Lebanon, caused the deaths of over 180 people and injured many more. My prayers are still with all the victims. The U.S. Postal Service went under investigation as it was unprepared for the massive amounts of mail-in ballots for the election. A bill was passed providing $25 billion to the Postal Service. Speaking of elections, this is when Joe Biden announced his running mate and vice president, Kamala Harris. Love her or hate her, she is the first woman and woman of color to be vice president. September was like the calm before the storm compared to the other months, but it still did not go unnoticed. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who was known for fighting for women's rights, sadly passed away from cancer at age 87. President Trump then had to rush and fill a spot that she left open for the Supreme Court. President Trump and Biden had their first debate. Man, it only feels like yesterday those two old farts were yelling at each other like a Call of Duty lobby. To even think these two can be in charge of our country is kind of frightening. October had a lot more global events going on, such as the death of a Kuwait monarch. I'm going to butcher this name, but I'm just putting this in so you can, search it up or whatever. Sheikh Sabah al-Sabah. Sheikh Sabah al-Sabah. He was 91 years old and ruled the country for 14 years. He was highly respected for his peace movements. Even more protests against police brutality emerged across the country as well. Also, October marked where I really stopped caring about school. Sorry, guys. In November, a riot was declared in Portland after several businesses were broken into. There was a shooting in North Carolina, and Joe Biden was projected to win the elections. And Trump tried to ban mail-in ballots like a big baby. To be fair, I'd be pretty skeptical of mail-in ballots myself, but not as bad as Mr. Orange Man. There were 20 consecutive days where each day 100,000 cases of corona were reported. The US in total right now has about 18 million cases, which is double the second most at only 9 million, which is held by India. Look, I know America tries to be number one at everything, but please, this one time, just be second or last. Okay, finally in the home stretch here with December. A federal judge ordered the Trump administration to reinstate DACA. This act prevents undocumented children from being deported. The Supreme Court rejected Texas's bid to reject thousands of mail-in ballots. As stated previously, this definitely locked in Biden's victory. For news for next year, because December was honestly kind of calm. Conor McGregor, former UFC champion, is going to fight Logan Paul. I'm unbelievably hyped to see that little boy get knocked out by an Irishman. Oh, and there's also a new strain of COVID-19 in the UK, so good luck, guys. Okay, we made it through every month. This has been the most hectic and crazy year in our generation, if not in history. The best we can do is look back at this year and reminisce about the good times, if there were any. I mean, wasn't like the rapture supposed to happen this year? I mean, I know I'm staying down here. There's no way God's letting me through the pearly gates. I hope everyone had some great memories this year, because I sure didn't. Happy 2021, everyone. Back to you in the studio.